If you stepped away from your business for 30 days, no phone, no email, no check-ins, would everything fall apart? If the answer is yes, then I need you to hear this. You don't have a business. You have a high-paying job. A job that follows you on holiday, a job that wakes you up at 3 a.m., a job your family has learned to compete with for your attention, a job you cannot quit, cannot step back from, and cannot sell. Because the moment you remove from the equation, the whole thing comes tumbling down. And the worst part, this didn't happen because you were careless. It happened because you were too damn good. You were the best person for every problem, every decision, every fire. So naturally, everything ran through you. Every founder I've ever worked with fell into this exact same trap. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact 4 steps that you need to take to give you the ability to step away from your business with confidence, and it won't come crashing down after you leave. Because until you can do that, you don't have an asset, you have a dependency, and dependencies don't sell for 7 or 8 figures. I'm Rohan, Sheth. I've spent the last 10 years building in this space. I've deployed over $100 million in ad spend. I've worked with the names Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Canva, Spotify, etc. And I've built a business that was completely dependent on me showing up. Jetting all around the world, having personally be at the networking events and giving talks, personally taking client calls, hours and hours and hours a day, not a moment of peace, every decision going through me. Now let me tell you a story. I started this business as a one-man show living in my mom's basement. Started to get a lot of traction, brought on partners, hired people, brought on my brother, brought in some more friends, started to scale. Everything always came down to one thing. If revenue dropped, Rohan, get more clients. If shit hit the fan, Rohan, can you fix this? If client needed something, Rohan, can you do this? I started to realize I hated every fucking ounce of it. But then I started to realize that I've got success. I've got everything what people want. But the one thing that I don't have is the reason that I built this was time, freedom, and really a business that could run without me. Then I started to really audit what I was doing, what was causing it. And I started to realize that one thing and one thing only, and that was I was too fucking good at fixing every single problem. And I remember one of my mentors once telling me, and today that mentor is also my business partner, and Nick said to me directly, just because you can save every deal and just because you can sell every deal doesn't mean you need every single deal. When he said that to me, I fully understood what he meant. I'd rather need to learn to delegate, close maybe 60% of the deals and save maybe 40% of the deals, and I'd be a happier human being, which gave me my life back, gave me my time back, and then slowly but steadily made me realize that I'm now building a business, not buying myself a job. That was the hardest lesson I've had to learn as a founder, and it cost me years. In this video, I'm going to give you the exact 4-step process I wish I had back then to remove yourself as the bottleneck for good. Step number 1, diagnose where you are the bottleneck in your business today. So back to that Jenga tower. You've been stacking blocks for years, and here's what happened without you realizing it. Somewhere in the middle of that tower, one block started carrying more weight than all the other ones combined. Every block above it rests on it. Every block below it props it up. The entire structural integrity of the entire tower runs through that one piece. And if you look closely at your business right now, that block has your name dead center. Before you can fix that, you need to know exactly where you are in the tower, because most founders have no idea how deep the dependency actually runs. They know they're busy, they know they're stretched, but they've never sat down and mapped out specifically every decision, every process, every client touch point that requires them personally to function. So that's step 1. You audit yourself out of the business before you try to remove yourself from it. Take 1 week. Every time something comes to you, a question from a team, a client issue, a decision that needs for you to sign off, write it down. Don't solve it, just document it. By the end of that week, you'll have a list, and that list is going to show you something uncomfortable. Most of those things, your team can handle them if they had a system that said they were allowed to. The problem isn't your team. The problem is that you've never built the infrastructure that gave them the authority to operate without you. And here's the part that stings. Every decision that runs through you is a decision your team never learns to make. You are actively training your business to depend on every single time you solve a problem yourself that someone else could have solved. You're not just the load-bearing block, you've become the reinforcing that position every single day without even realizing it. The action this week: audit every decision that runs through you. Categorize it into 3 columns. Needs you, doesn't need you, but has no system. Doesn't need you and shouldn't have ever come to you. That list is your map, and you're going to need it for everything that follows. Step 2, build the decision infrastructure. Now, you have the map and you know where you are in the tower. So step 2 is where you start engineering your way out of the middle. And this is where most founders stall, because this stops being about working harder and starts being about building something that most founders have never built before: a nervous system for your business. What does that mean? It means your team has documented authority to make decisions without you. It means there are clear processes that define what happens when a problem occurs before it ever even reaches to you. It means the business has a system that runs, not a person who runs it. Here's a shift that has to happen in your thinking. Right now, you are the brain for the business. Your team are the hands. They wait for instructions and you give them, they execute. That model has a ceiling and you're already hit it. The new model, your team has their own decision-making capacity. You're not the brain anymore. You're the architect. You set the system runs itself. Think about what's happening there. The Jenga tower right now, every block above you is resting in full weight on you being there. What step 2 does is it redistributes that weight. You're not removing yourself yet. You're engineering the blocks around you so that the structure above has its own integrity, so that gradually the tower learns to hold itself without the one block carrying everything. This isn't about giving your team more tasks. It's about giving them documented clarity on what they're empowered to handle, and then actually letting them handle it. The signal that you've done this correctly: you take a week off, nothing breaks, nobody calls you with a problem the system should have already handled, and the tower stays standing. The action: take your audit from step 1 for every single item that doesn't need me, that has no system column. Build a system, document the decision criteria, define who owns it, make it explicit, then get out of the way and let the structure hold itself. Step 3, fix the margin leaks. This is the step most founders skip, and the most expensive mistake on the entire list. While you've been buried in operations, solving problems, running decisions, building the block, everything depends on money that has been quietly leaving your business, not the one dramatic moment, block by block, month by month. Pricing that hasn't been reviewed in years, scope that creeps on every single engagement, a cost structure nobody has looked at properly because everyone has been too busy looking at you for direction. The average founder at this revenue level has at least $50,000 to $150,000 leaking out of their business annually through exactly these 3 things. Here's how this maps back to the tower. While you've been focused on stacking new blocks on top, growing revenue, landing clients, building the team, blocks have been silently sliding out from the base. The tower looks like it's growing, but the foundation is getting quietly weaker every single month. You don't stop and look directly at it. And this is the step most founders refuse to do. Not because it's complicated, but because it requires stopping. Stepping back from the tower, actually looking at what's holding back the base together, and being honest about what you find. I worked with a founder running an executive search from about $1.7 million on paper, looked successful in practice, working herself to exhaustion, watching every profit quietly disappear, gross margin sitting at about 38%. 4 months after fixing pricing, tightening delivery, and properly examining the numbers, gross margin moved from 30% to 54% and the exact same revenue. Completely different business. She wasn't working harder. She just finally looked at the base of the tower. All right, so here's the action. Pull your P&L. When did you last review your pricing? Where is the scope creep on the delivery? What does your cost structure look like line by line? If you can't answer those 3 questions quickly, that's where your margin is going. And those are the blocks quietly disappearing from your foundation. Step 4, build the pipeline engine. Now we're here. I want to be clear about why this is the last one, because everything above has to be in place. A pipeline that works is a system that feeds a system. If the decision infrastructure isn't built, if the margin leaks aren't fixed, if your still load-bearing block is in the middle, more leads just means more chaos. You'd be stacking new blocks on top of a tower that's already structurally compromised. But once the foundation is solid, this is where the business changes permanently. Right now, if you're honest, your pipeline is you. your relationships, your reputation, your personal network, and you're the rainmaker. And deep down, you know that's the problem. Because what happens when you step back? The leads slow down, the revenue softens, and acquirers who look like at your business sees exactly what it is. A tower held up by one block, and they either walk away or they offer you a fraction of what it's truly worth. I worked with a digital agency founder doing about $2.8 million in revenue, completely unpredictable, and $180,000 one month, $60,000 the next. Couldn't hire with confidence, couldn't plan, waking up at 3 a.m. the last week of every single month, not knowing what the number was going to look like. He was the pipeline. The whole tower depended on him generating the next block. The fix wasn't more hustle. It was building a system, systematic lead generation, a documented sales process, revenue he could see coming 90 days before it even arrived. 6 months later, 50 plus qualified leads per month consistently. 14 months later, $4.8 million in sales, then a $9 million acquisition landed unsolicited. He didn't take it, not because the number wasn't right, but because for the first time, the business was working for him. He didn't need to sell to escape it. The tower was finally standing on its own. So here's the action. Map your current lead generation. What percentage of it depends on you personally? What would happen to your pipeline if you step back for 60 days? If the answer is it would stop, that's the system you need to build. 40 to 60 qualified leads a month through a process that doesn't require you to be in place every single block. So let's go back to where it all started, the Jenga tower. Block by block, year by year, you've built it. Every client, every hire, every late night, every problem you push through. You stacked it higher than most people ever will, and you should be proud of that. But here's where we finish the picture. Because while you were building, while you were focused on the top, stacking the next block, solving the next problem, something was happening in the middle that you never stopped to look at. One block started carrying everything. Your decisions, your relationships, your pipeline, your presence, the whole structure. Quietly shifted its weight onto you. And the tower kept growing, and it kept looking impressive, and everyone kept telling you how well you're doing. And then one day, something tries to pull that block out. Maybe it's a healthcare scare, maybe it's a key client walking, maybe it's a partner leaving, maybe it's just you. Finally trying to take a holiday, finally trying to step back, finally trying to have 1 week where no phone doesn't go off, your feet hit the floor. Finally trying to take a holiday, finally trying to take a step back, finally trying to have 1 week where your phone doesn't go before your feet hit the floor. And the moment that block moves, the whole tower comes crashing down. That's not maybe, that's physics. Step 1, audit where you are in the tower, know exactly which block you've become. Step 2, build the decision infrastructure, redistribute the weight so that the structure holds itself up. Step 3, fix the margin leaks, stop the block sliding silently from the base. And step 4, build the pipeline engine, create a system that generates the next block without you having to place it yourself. Do these 4 things in order and you stop being the block the whole tower depends on. You become the person who built a tower that doesn't need any single block to survive. That's not a lifestyle promise, that's an architectural decision. Drop a comment below and tell me which step you are stuck on right now. Whichever step it is most frequently commented, I'll do an entire deep dive into what part of this process